Well, hello, good morning. Here I am again. Another video. I wanted to talk today about something that's really, I think, really important, and something that's been playing on my mind a lot lately, to do with dealing with the medical side of it, the medications that I'm on. So just to kind of summarise, first of all, I have stage 4 prostate cancer, and a little over a year ago I was given a whole load of different medications, but the two main ones that I'm on that are pretty much life-saving medication for me are a monthly injection, which is a hormone injection, and that's what I wanted to talk about mostly, and then daily tablets that that really, are life-saving tablets, called enzalutamide, which I'm on as well. Now, they both have their side effects, but I wanted to talk more about the hormone injections and how that makes me feel, and perhaps explain a little bit about, this is something that when I first was diagnosed with cancer, my oncologist said to me that you're lucky, Woody, this is the kind cancer. Now, I've been thinking about that ever since, and I don't think she said it a couple of times since as well. I don't really think there's a lot kind about it. I do understand where she's coming from, because it can be controlled to a certain degree. However, life can be extremely difficult when you're on these medications, and I perhaps want to just share some thoughts about that for other guys that are perhaps just embarking on this journey of life with prostate cancer, and you may well have just had your first injection or your first lot of tablets or your first round of therapy of some type. I'm not lying. I'm going to kind of like just tell it how it is. I've struggled with it over the past year at times, and I think anyone else would, because when you're given this, or at least in my case, when I've been given it and told to go away and get on with it, really. So the side effects from it can be quite wicked, and quite difficult to cope with. So, for instance, the changes which were really rapid in my body, the hairless arms and hairless legs and chest and all that stuff, and down below, the changes down below, which you just feel like you're not a man, are very, very difficult to cope with. And I find it so, there's no book out there, there's nothing there that really tells you how to cope with this stuff, and there are a lot of side effects. Now, I'm probably going to sound quite negative to start with, and then I'm going to turn it around, because this is what I've done myself. So when it, first of all, the changes in my body, I don't know how to feel. I'm a guy that doesn't feel like a guy. It's that kind of strange in-betweenness that these hormone therapy, messing around with the hormones in the body, has done to me. And it's very emotional, and I've always been an emotional guy. I've always been the sort of person that have a tear in their eye after watching a silly Walt Disney film. But this is something beyond anything. I cry at the smallest drop of a hat, really. Anything. I sometimes find myself crying for no reason. I just find myself welling up all the time, and to try to cope with that has not been easy. And I've been sort of in the shops or something, and all of a sudden a thought's come in my mind, and the next minute I've got tears coming down my face, and I try and hide away. I'm the same at home. I try and hide away from the children, my wife, and there isn't really anyone I found that I can talk to about this. It's just this ongoing roller coaster of ups and downs. The change of the body, the emotions, the pain from the injection. Then you got the PSA monthly blood test, waiting for the result for that. All kinds of piles up, and does I think can do lots and lots of damage to the mental health of us. So I'm trying to think of ways of explaining it, but it's just like you feel, I feel like I'm this bloke that's completely changed. I've completely changed. I feel differently. I think differently. And I am different. It's a strange thing. But now this is where I want to turn this round. But I'm alive. Despite all this, I'm alive. And another thing that I really struggle with is this constant hot flushes, being hot and cold, and especially in the winter. Don't know whether to be freezing cold, baking hot from one moment to the next. And again, that all piles up and creates more pressures and more anxiety. And so, yeah, you have to deal with all that stuff. Now, if you are embarking on this journey, I'm really not trying to scare people, but I never knew any of this stuff. I didn't know this stuff was going to happen to me. I guess I went it with I buried my head in the sand, because I'm scared. And I was scared. Of course I was terrified. I was told I had stage 4 cancer. I was terrified. I didn't want to know. So I just took the tablets, took the injections, took anything anyone gave me. And I'm quite, it's a strange thing. You see, I'm actually grateful for that. Despite all this stuff that's going on, you're going to learn that if you go down this path, which I think is one of the only paths we've got, especially if the cancer's really spread, you've got to turn that around somehow and then make positives out of it. So the first positive I have is that I'm alive. Simple as that. I'm alive. I'm putting up with some, I kind of think now, when I think about it, they're not minor irritations, they're quite major. But the alternative is being in a box underground. So I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful. So I think about things in I think what I've done is I've come to discover the meaning of life. I really have. I've discovered what it's all about, because it's been threatened to be removed and taken away from me. I've discovered listening to people. I've discovered the wonders of the world, the sunsets, the sunrises, the birds, the clouds, all of that stuff that I may have taken for granted. I mean, I was just thinking the other day how I now try to spend more time with my children. I've got 2 young kids, 12 and 15-year-old girls, and perhaps before I wasn't listening to them. I was listening to them, but without listening to them, because my head was always on something else. Now I've got this chance to listen to them properly, and I do. And I listen to my wife, and I listen to other people, and I try not to sweat the small stuff. So all this stuff that's going on in my life, I try and counterbalance it with the good stuff. And to do that, you've got to have purpose. You've got to have purpose. You've got to have a feel for life, a zest for living. And then all this stuff kind of goes in the background more and more. So although every day I go through the same stuff, my appreciation of the fact that it's keeping me alive is overriding all the bad stuff. So for instance, when I drive to work in the morning now, I have this 10-minute session. I talk to my cancer. I'm becoming friends with my cancer, because I know that to fight it is silly. There's no point me fighting anything. I'm only fighting myself, beating myself up. I talk to it. I thank it for not being painful. I thank it for that I've had a night's sleep. And then when I finish talking about you know, the positives of having the cancer and the fact that I have awakened up, I then start thinking about the positives of my life and what I'm thankful for. And I'm thankful for the fact I'm breathing. I'm thankful for the fact that I'm in a traffic jam, that the traffic stopped, but I'm alive. I'm in the traffic jam. I'm thankful for so many things. And then it just kind of makes it better. It really does. You have to take the rough with the smooth in this situation. So yes, there are many things in my life that I wish weren't going on. But I've got to just accept. I've learned to accept that that's the way it is. I've accepted that. I'm still 100% going to recover and heal from this cancer. I'm going to heal from it. And I hope I might even be helping others. Who knows? But if I succumb to the negative feelings of the injections and the PSA blood test and the constant routine of and the anguish of waiting for results and feeling the hot and cold sweats, and if I succumb to the negativity of that, cancer's going to beat me, and it's going to beat you. So you have to develop this culture of gratitude, appreciation for the other stuff, and fill your world with as much love as possible, and you might see the world a different way. I mean, if I've got anything that I can say, that cancer has awoken me, and I thank it for that. It's awoken me from going through life without realising so many extremely important things, like my children, taking for granted that they're just talking to me, not listening to about their days at school, one eye on the phone, one ear on something else. That's gone. And yeah, that's what I wanted to make this video about, just to try and again to see life a different way, to take all the negatives out of what we go through as suffering with cancer. Of course it's depressing and hard to manage at times, but you can if you just take a step back and look at what you've got and try and focus on the good stuff. Okay, so I'm going back to work now. I'm gonna keep smiling, keep believing. I'm gonna do it. You know, one person has done it, 1,000 people have done it. That means you and I can do it. We can beat this. And I think the biggest power we have is within. So we got to harness that power. So till the next time, take it easy. Be kind, be grateful, be positive. Okay, you can do it. Take care.